Hi everybody, welcome back to the shop. I am Builder Dad Dan and this is my shop. So today's video we're going to talk about how do you maintain your shoe rack or shoe bench. So first off, thank you for your purchase. And here's how you maintain it. So these shoe racks and benches, for the most part, are coated with a Danish oil, which is a penetrating oil. And so the easiest way to keep them clean over time is to lightly dust them off using a paper towel. In this case here, we're using the Scott brand shop towels, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. But we're using the Scott brand shop towels, and we're going to use just a little bit of water. And so all you have to do to dust these off is spray them down with just a little bit of water, just a little damp cloth, and you're just going to gently wipe the surface. That will take the dust off, and that's all you have to do periodically to keep it looking nice and new. Over time though, if the finish starts to dull, that's where we're going to go a little bit further. And every shoe rack or bench will tell you what it was finished in. Most of the time it's going to be this Watco Danish Oil in the natural color. But if you've got any questions, feel free to email us and ask. In this case here, the Watco Danish Oil is a penetrating oil. And so over time what we'll do is we'll just kind of freshen them up. And we'll put a little coat of it on there. How we do this is I like to use these Scott brand paper towels. They're really absorbent, they're shop grade. And if you look at them, blue paper towel, you can get them Amazon, Walmart, any of your big box stores should have them. But what this does really nicely is it won't come apart as you're kind of working the angles of the shoe rack or anything like that. What you'll find with the normal paper towels is those will come apart over time. Or not over time, as you're doing as you're cleaning or applying more product to it. So I don't like to use those. I like to use these, but I have a ton of them because that's what I use to do my wipe-on finishes. When I'm doing my wipe-on finishes, or in this case I'm touching this rack up, I like to keep my hands nice, and so I wear latex gloves. These are just standard latex gloves you can get at, again, Walmart, Amazon, Sam's Club, somewhere like that. And so I'll put those on, and I'm just going to go ahead and apply a little bit of oil. Now, one thing to note when you're using this oil is that it says right here, combustible and vapor harmful or fatal if swallowed. Well, that's the product is harmful if vapor is swallowed. But what it will say is that it has got in this on the back of the can, it'll tell you down here what its cleanup method is. And it's going to say paint, mineral spirits, or paint thinner. Typically the same thing, mineral spirits, paint thinner. What this is a penetrating oil that has a little polyurethane in it. And so the mineral spirits is the carrier that gets that polyurethane and Danish oil, the oil itself, onto your shoe rack. And so it's going to penetrate into the wood and soak into it. As it dries off, those fumes, that's the harmfulness that you're going to smell, which is why you want to do it in a well-ventilated area, preferably outside if you can. But it's also going to cause a fire hazard. So when you're done with your stuff, you definitely don't want to have your rags, and you don't want to bunch them up. And you don't want to leave them bunched up and throw them in your trash or something like that, because these are going to cause heat as the vapor, as the mineral spirits dries up, flashes off. What's going to happen then is it creates heat, and so it can combust these paper towels. So for me, I like to set them outside. I like to lay them flat and open, and I put a little rock on top of them, and generally they sit outside overnight. Next day, pick them up when I'm all done, throw them in the trash, and then they're good to go. So that's a pro tip there for safety. But now what you're doing here is you're just going to go ahead and put your latex gloves on. You're going to get a little Danish oil. I'm going to use an open can. I've shaken this can really well to kind of get it together. But you're going to go ahead you're going to apply just a little bit of Danish oil to the rag. And all you're going to do is just wipe on. Let it soak in a little bit. You can always apply a little bit more. You can be a little more general, or generous, I should say, not general. You can be a little bit more generous. And what you'll see is, and I don't know if you can see it there, but it's bubbling a little bit. And that's as the wood's taking in that oil, that Danish oil, into the fibers. It's going to bubble up a little bit there. And so you can just apply that on. And then generally you just give it a little bit of time, a couple minutes or so. You don't want to leave it on there to dry, because what will happen is it'll dry hard, and that's where that polyurethane piece of it comes into play. And you'll end up with a glossy, tacky-like surface. Don't ask me how I know. But you'll end up with that. So what you want to do is you apply it on, and then you take the dry part, or a new rag, you just go ahead and wipe it off. And then that way, what happens here is that the wood only absorbs the amount of Danish oil that you want it to. And that's a great way to keep it looking fresh and nice. These leave coated from our shop. Generally, depending on how the wood is looking, you're roughly between 2 to 3 coats, sometimes 4 coats before it heads out of here. And so we like to let them sit for a day and dry, at least a day to dry afterwards. But what you'll end up with is a really nice finish. I'm a big fan of this Danish oil. It's coated a lot of stuff, a lot of the furniture in my house. I've got it on there. It works great. And I hope you'll love it. And I hope you still love your shoe bench or shoe rack. And so if you're thinking about buying one of these and you haven't done it yet, pretty simple maintenance, very cool, very beautiful. I think it enhances the wood absolutely very well. And hopefully you'll love it forever. So until later, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you later. Bye. Hi everybody, welcome back to the Builder Dad shop. I am Builder Dad and Dad. Walnut shoe rack, or one more time. Need to be good.